The reality of my sinfulness should cause me to despair completely of myself and to throw myself completely upon Christ alone for salvation. The truth is that you can't educate a man away from this state of corruption and sinfulness that every human being is infected by. You can't argue a man out of this. You can't discipline anyone out of this depravity. There's absolutely nothing you and I can do about this. And you know why? Because the blinders on his eyes are there supernaturally, and so they need to be removed supernaturally. But here's what we often do. We find people in this condition and we try to compromise with them, and we try to clean them up on the outside. We find people in this condition and begin to work with them, and we say, don't talk like that. Talk like this. Don't do that. Do this. And all we do is behavioral modification. And what we have now is a person who on the inside is still corrupt, and on the outside has learned how to use his tongue, his throat, his lips, his mouth, his feet, his body in order to get what he wants by being deceptive about it. If you can somehow guide his feet so that he is no longer as quick to shed blood, if you perhaps could incarcerate him so that he no longer has the opportunity to act sinfully, let me ask, what exactly would we accomplish by that? You have a man who is a hypocrite now. One pastor shared his experience in Angola at the largest maximum security prison in the world. And he talks about that eerie and unnerving moment where he had the opportunity to share the gospel and stand face to face and eye to eye with a serial killer, a man on the death row, a man who could only go outside 1 hour a day in a caged enclosure, and for the rest of the 23 hours back inside in a dark and confined dungeon. The pastor shared how he knew the history of this man, that his feet were very quick to shed blood. He shared how he heard the words that came out of his throat and his tongue and from his lips and his mouth, and how he was never more disturbed by another human being in his entire life than by this serial killer. There was no fear of God before his eyes, radically and totally depraved. But here's the news flash, friend. Apart from Christ and his work of salvation on our behalf, neither you nor I would be any better off. Excuse me? Well, he doesn't seek after God. Yeah, you're right. But I didn't either. Well, clearly he doesn't understand. Yeah, you're right. I didn't either. Clearly he doesn't do good. Yeah, I didn't either. Clearly he is not righteous. Yeah, I wasn't either. Clearly his feet are swift to go and shed blood. Yes, mine were as well. Or do you not remember the teaching of Jesus Christ from the Sermon on the Mount? He says, "You heard it said that you shall not murder, but I say to you, if you hate your brother, you're guilty enough to face the fires of hell yourself." If it weren't for the grace of God, this is who we were apart from Christ. And until we grasp this, we will never ever properly understand or appreciate our debt to Christ. Unless and until we understand this, we will never grasp and we will never understand how worthy He is of our worship. But your problem and my problem is this: we believe this about everybody else but not about us. We believe this about the serial killer, but we don't believe it about us. We look back on our lives as we were before Christ, and if the truth were told, we actually believe that in us there was some inkling of something good that Christ must have seen and must have appreciated and that must have caught his eye. No. We must say with Apostle Paul, I was chief among sinners. Lord, have mercy on me. So the Bible is abundantly clear. You can do nothing to save yourself from God's rightful judgment. Only Christ can save, and He has promised to save all who trust in Him. Call out to Him for mercy and faith with the man who said to Jesus in Luke 18:13, God, be merciful to me, the sinner. So, the reality of my sinfulness should cause me to despair completely of myself and to throw myself completely upon Christ alone for salvation.